Assalamu alaikum and welcome to my presentation. Today we are going to talk about communication across different cultures, or you can say cross-cultural communication. So basically, if you belong to a certain culture, there is quite a chance that someone from another culture will not be able to understand, or you need some tips in order to communicate with the person with a different culture effectively. So today I'm going to talk about the tips that you're going to need in order to communicate effectively. Okay, so there are certain hurdles, or you can say barriers, that come in your way when you're trying to communicate your message with the person that belongs to a different culture. So these barriers include body language, your etiquettes, your establishing your trust on the other person, yours and their religious beliefs, and the social habits among different cultures. Okay, so the tips that I'm going to give you for effective cross-cultural communication, the first one is to slow down. If you Even when English is a common language in a cross-cultural situation, this does not mean you should speak at normal speed. The other person might not be able to understand you properly if you go at your normal speed. You should slow down and let the other person process what you're trying to say. Let the other person digest what you're trying to convey, the message you're trying to convey. So you should first of all slow down, speak clearly, and ensure your pronunciation is intelligible, that the other person is at least understanding the words so that he can process the thoughts that you're trying to convey. So the first tip is slow down. Second one, separate your questions. Do not ask double questions such as do you want to carry or shall we stop there. In a cross cultural situation, only the first or second question may have been comprehended. The other person may not be able to process both of the questions. If you ask only just one question, it might be a bit easier for the other person to understand the question and better answer it. If you ask multiple questions in a single sentence, it may be difficult for the other person to understand them. For example, in this case, if you say, do you want to carry on or shall we stop there? You could just ask, do you want to carry on? Or you could ask, shall we stop here? The other person may be of better convenience if ask just a single question rather than asking just a bunch of questions in a single sentence. And let your listener answer one question at a time. Ask one question, let the other person answer, and then move on. The third tip I'm going to give you is avoid negative questions. Many complications across cultural communication comes when you ask negative questions. So in many cultures, well, in most cultures, when you ask a question and the other person implies with yes, it means that it's an affirmation. And if he or she replies with no, this means that this is a negation. So if you ask negative questions, this causes confusion with the answer that the other person is trying to say. So in English, we answer yes if the answer is affirmative and no if it is negative. In other cultures, a yes or a no may only be indicating whether the questioner is right or wrong. So if you ask a question like, are you not coming? If the other person wants to say uh, he doesn't want to come, he may imply with a yes. He doesn't want to come and he replies with a yes. So this causes a kind of confusion. If you could ask a question something like, are you coming? This gives the other person a clear choice that if he or she may want to, reply with a yes or a no. This, provides a bit of clarity in the question. So, tip number four is take turns. Cross-cultural communication is enhanced through taking turns to talk, making a point, and then listening to the response. You can just all speak and expect the other person to communicate. Communication is always two-way. You speak first and then you listen afterwards. Give the other person a chance to talk and provide you with their side of story, or their thoughts. So take turns, let the other person talk, and convey your ideas and thoughts to each other effectively. Number five is write it down. If you're unsure whether something has been understood, write it down and check. This can be useful when using large figures. For example, a billion in the USA is um, the given value, while in UK it is dash. So in different cultures there are different representations of different figures or characters, or just different numbers, etc. So if you're trying to convey a message across different cultures, you should write it down if you're uncertain that whether the other person understood it properly or not. For example, the example given here is that USA 1 billion includes 12 zeros, while in UK it includes only 9. So it is much more, convenient if you could just write it down and let the other person understand what you're trying to say. Number six, and this is one of the most important one, be supportive. Effective cross-cultural communication is in a sense about being comfortable. If you're comfortable with the other person, you're more likely to open up to them and convey your messages more openly and more, without any filters. So, giving encouragement to those with weak English gives them confidence, support, and a trust in you. If a person does not understand or could speak English properly, and you appreciate them, it's more likely that they open up to you and they, more confidently communicate their thoughts or their messages to you. So be supportive. Let the person, or if the person is weak in some situation, just encouragement. Encouragement is the key. Point number seven, check meanings. When communicating across culture, never assume the other party has understood. Be an active listener. Summarize what has been said in the order to verify it. This is a very effective way of ensuring accurate culture communication has taken place. When communicating across different cultures, it is never 100% certain that the other person has understood what you're trying to convey. It may be that they're just implying so that they don't face the shame or the disgraceness, that they can't understand what you're trying to say. They might just imply that yeah, they've understood your what you're trying to say, but they don't actually do. So the thing here is, just assume that the other person does not understand what you're trying to say, and then you can more actively explain your point of view to them. Be an active listener. Listen to each and every word the other person has to say. Do not ignore, or um, just listen attentively. Don't just sit there and listen to the words. Understand what the other person is trying to say. So summarize what has been said in order to verify it. If the other person is communicating something with you, and at the end of every conversation, just summarize all the ideas that has been communicated in just one sentence. Like, if you're trying to if the other person is trying to communicate that a certain car is better than the other one, or he or she is explaining some features of different cars and comparing them, you could just summarize at the end that also you're trying to say that this car is better than that one, so that the other person can verify that the message they are trying to convey is actually being understood. So this is a very effective way of ensuring accurate cross-cultural communication has taken place. In that way, you can very easily convey your message and let the other party know that you've understood what they are trying to communicate. Number eight, avoid slangs. Even the most well-educated foreigner will not have a complete knowledge of slang, idioms, and sayings. The danger is that the words will be understood, but the meaning missed. In different cultures, there are different slangs, and unless if you're not brought up in that certain culture, may or may not be well aware of the slangs that are used in those cultures. So, at all cost, avoid using slangs. Just avoid them, and try to move towards more literal meaning of your ideas or messages. Just present your thoughts in a more literal words rather than using slangs. Number nine, watch the humor. In many cultures, business is taken very seriously. Professionalism and protocol are constantly observed. Many cultures will not appreciate the use of humor and jokes in the business context. When using humor, think whether it will be understood in the other culture. For example, British sarcasm usually has a negative effect abroad. For example, if you're in a business meeting and it's a very serious matter, and you just crack a joke in between the meeting, it's considered as very unprofessional, and just this just shows the non-seriousness of your behavior. So it is in better it is just generally better for you if you avoid um, using humor in professionalism and while following protocol. So, like the example given here, British sarcasm usually has a negative effect abroad. British sarcasm is very different kind of sarcasm that the other cultures may take personally. So it usually this causes the British sarcasm to have a generally negative effect abroad. Okay, so number 10, uh, and this is the final tip. Many cultures have certain etiquette when communicating. It is always a good idea to undertake some cross cultural awareness training or at least do some research on the target culture. There are certain etiquettes that are followed in different cultures to pay respects, or there are certain things that may not be considered rude in one cultural but may be considered in the other. So it is generally better to get some information or study a little bit about the other culture that you're trying to communicate with. So this enables you to you know just mm, this causes you to just communicate more effectively, and just try not to hurt the other person's feelings, rather than ensuring that you trust them and you respect them. So it is generally better to, if you could educate yourself about the other culture that you're trying to communicate with. So concluding this presentation, cross-cultural communication is about dealing with people from other cultures in a way that minimizes misunderstandings and maximizes your potential to create strong cross-cultural relationship. The above tips should be seen as a starting point to greater cross-cultural awareness. So the tips I've just given you, um, can enable you to effectively communicate across different cultures, and just try not to hurt the other culture, the person belonging to the other culture's feelings, and just build a strong cross-cultural relationship. So, yeah, that's it from my side. I hope that I hope that this presentation enable you to learn something from it. And that's it from my side. I'll see you next time. Allah Hafiz.